Wow, guys, it doesn't look good. I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't look good, guys. It's like these are bodies strewn across a battlefield of the cryptoverse, and everything is taking massive hits. IOTA nearly 20% down. Everything in the top eight, no, actually top. Wow, the top 13 cryptocurrencies are all at least 10% down. Bitcoin would have been 10% down yesterday. Tether doesn't count, guys. But hey, let's stay optimistic. Look at that Tether, That's pretty awesome, right? Trying to stay positive. This doesn't have to be all negative, guys. The good news is you can keep hodling, obviously. If you're going to take a massive loss, I would not sell. Literally, got to go long term, guys. Stay positive about that. Bitcoin was at nearly a 2-month high for sure. And over the last couple of days, we've seen a drop off like never before almost. Look at this, guys. I mean, this is... I'm not going to get out the Fibonacci tools or anything, but this is just a very, very fast drop of billions and billions of dollars. Yeah, nearly $10 billion just disappearing in a heartbeat. Yeah, pretty crazy. Let's go back here. I want to talk about some fears I have for Bitcoin. So if we draw this line, technical analysis will tell us that every time we basically test a level of resistance, you do increase the chances that you will eventually break it. So I am somewhat worried that we might see this happen again, or we actually go below 6,000, which is really scary because honestly, if you're thinking about buying in, when it gets to the 6,000 mark, that's when you should buy in, because there's going to be other people that do the same. People saying Bitcoin can't go below this level, and if it does, it's bad for everyone. So that's a good time to get in, because you will actually help people say, yes, time to get in. So it's pretty much the best timing to get in these days, in my opinion. If I got out some retracement tools, you'd see that the trend right now is definitely a downward trend. So it doesn't look great, but I mean, at the end of this year, I don't see it happening. Now that we're in August, guys, I can tell you honestly, from how long I've been in this space, I don't see any kind of major recovery until maybe December. November, maybe. November, December, I definitely see some money going back into the crypto space. But, I mean, right now, it's really not looking good, so definitely don't get into anything until you see Bitcoin drop down another nearly 10 billion, more like 8 at this point. But nonetheless, other cryptocurrencies have suffered massively recently. Litecoin is one of them. This is just insane. I mean, Litecoin doesn't have nearly as much of a market cap, so it's only about actually not even a full $1 billion that it lost, so that's really nothing, honestly. But, stay positive with Litecoin, because, I mean, it's really easy to change the price of Litecoin when it has such a light market cap. Honestly, it's not even $4 billion now, so you could see huge price swings in Litecoin, even though it is ranked number 7. I mean, this isn't anything. When we get to these numbers, that's when you're going to see a little less volatility, but the market movements are still going to be massive. In this entire space, I believe we're going to see huge price swings and huge volatility for a long time, and that's because there is not major capital investments. I've talked about this many times, but I don't think I've shared it in a video on this channel in particular yet. But this is a great visualization for you to understand just what a small amount of money is invested in cryptocurrencies at this time. So silver, these all represent numbers, these blocks we're looking at here, guys. So in the world, silver has, believe it or not, $17 billion worth of value in the world. Cryptocurrency, collectively, you like how it says the rest, 45 45 billion. So collectively, they have less than 200 billion worldwide. Now we're going to look at companies, just single companies with hundreds of employees and such. Almost all of them are still valued way higher than cryptocurrencies. Keep in mind, this graph is somewhat outdated. If we're going to update it, I would say it's actually right at this exact moment. You'll notice that it's actually quite close to these numbers still. Oops. So you'll see Bitcoin's 111 billion, a little higher. Ethereum's at 37 million, higher. And then 45 billion for everything else is way off in billions. Everything else is... It'd be hard to tell, yeah, but it'd take some time. But I can bet you it's much closer to 50 billion or higher. Nonetheless, that doesn't change anything, guys. My point being in sharing this is that the cryptocurrency industry, the entire cryptoverse, if you will, it is very small. And until we see ETFs become a real thing, I don't see that changing. So if you didn't know the whole rise in Bitcoin recently that we saw, it did happen because of basically false optimism about ETFs becoming a thing yet again. And the SEC once again shot it down. So ETFs is not going, we're not going to see any crypto ETFs anytime soon, it looks like. You know, the mainstream, the government is just not ready to regulate it because they realize there's cryptocurrencies you just simply cannot regulate. And I want to comment on that in this video, even though I don't think I should. I'll just briefly mention that, you know, someday, I'll mention now, someday there will be a time where this stuff is mainstream. It's without a shadow of a doubt. Blockchain technologies are great. They're fast. We're going to see cryptocurrencies as a world currency. The good thing is there's more than one of them, so it becomes very difficult for any particular government to basically collapse all of them, to basically inflate them and then collapse them, to basically bankrupt people and try to like make the mainstream stay away from them. It'd be very, very, very expensive for governments to do this, although I will say that they could do it technically. The Federal Reserve can print money, for God's sake, so trust me, it is very possible for them to try to create all kinds of hyper volatility. That is a very real possibility, but I will say my hope, and I've said this many times if you know me, it comes down to privacy coins like Monero, Dash, Zcash, Verge. There's a number of other ones I'm not mentioning, but the list does go on. There's nearly a dozen of them now. Actually, even more than that if I'm including things like Bitcoin Dark and such. But anyways, those coins are going to be the safe havens for people like you and I that are early investors, libertarians namely as well, but people that do not want their money regulated necessarily. So, you know, they might be part of the reason why ETFs are not a thing just yet, but I also will mention that there will be a time where governments do try to regulate everything, and they may literally pass laws that say owning, trading, exchanging any kind of privacy token, Monero, Zcash, Dash, all of those included, is illegal. Now, Dash has a great team, but I don't know if they're thinking long-term enough, because honestly, I could see governments coming out and saying, you know, we like this blockchain thing because it makes it really easy to track literally like everyone once we know their addresses, especially if we could force them to use one address. And then there's these privacy tokens, which they can't. They simply just really can't do that with. And so they're probably going to someday say these are illegal currencies. Now, we see countries like India and the U.S. doing all kinds of weird things with money to try to fight criminal activity. Namely India recently, where they actually got rid of the 500 and the 1,000 rupee bill because they said something like 90% of people with those bills are actually criminals and not like people, normal people. So anyways, my point being is governments do fight crime the way that they think is most effective, and they may just make laws that say trading those currencies is illegal. In my opinion, that will make them far more valuable and scarce and hard to get. Like, people will simply not sell them for anything less. Like, literally, if everyone in the space realizes, oh, a country just made this illegal, I am not willing to sell it for less than this amount. And you might just see the value. Literally, the market cap could stay the same, but the value just shoots up because all of a sudden people aren't willing to sell for less than double what they had before. I mean, keep in mind that's actually possible for all cryptocurrencies as well. If the people holding them are simply not willing to sell them for a certain amount, it just artificially just boom, overnight, a value of a cryptocurrency can go up. So biggest losers, all of them, gainers and losers are like no-name coins. Like, I think I've heard of Thrive Coin and WAB Network, but besides that, BitUSA I know of as well. But besides that, it's not looking great, guys. This is loop ring on Neo, not loop ring proper. Yeah, not looking good. But again, in closing, guys, without getting out all of the retracement tools, I would say the level of resistance I see in Litecoin is actually $40. Okay, it doesn't look great because it could go down much lower for Litecoin. So if that ever got to $40, that's when I'd get back into Litecoin. Bitcoin 6,000, and we're almost there, which is kind of scary. So again, I would not be selling, and I would not be buying just yet, because what I see here is very ominous, and it's not a good sign for what might be happening in the future. So yeah, guys, just to finish up with this as well, I want to show you just how much money is out there. Stock markets alone have insane wealth. Cryptocurrencies basically have nothing. Gold alone in jewelry and other forms, huge. Currencies like fiat, this is fiat currencies, huge. Everything's basically huge. Cryptocurrency is still the new guy on the block. So it explains the easy volatility in these prices. It's really not that hard for the governments or whales in this space to really sway prices. So even though everything's a sea of red and it's looking very ominous for the future of cryptocurrencies, this is not the end of cryptocurrencies. I don't think anything will be able to ever kill cryptocurrencies. Stay positive. Don't give up. And again, just be smart with when you get in, guys. It's really all about timing in this game of money and investments. So anyways, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you learned something, and stay positive. Take care.